Hello everybody, it's Celery, aka Resident Anchor if you couldn't tell by the screen. I'm going to be doing, I guess not a reaction, but commentary over the animatics that the beautiful, lovely Robinsdraw has done. Um, there's a lot of things I can say, a lot of fun facts, especially in the second animatic, but in the second episode, but I feel like the prologue is necessary. Um, fun fact, I hate the prologue so much. I was really afraid when I was told she would be drawing the animatic what it would be about, because I assumed it would be like maybe a little music video or something, a small little thing. I didn't think she would animate the entire prologue, which was absolutely fascinating to discover. I freaked out a lot realizing that she just wanted to draw my entire story, which I don't ever think, I don't ever think she's going to finish, but I will cheer her on every step of the way and help her in any way I can. So the prologue, there's a couple reasons why I don't like it. First off, I was just goofing off. I didn't have a plan for the story. I pretty much just wanted to write the first two chapters. The first two chapters I wrote together. So the prologue and chapter 2 immediately went up back to back. So the idea I had for the story then was completely different from the idea I ended up with. The story was based off of this story. 4 roommates, all with superpowers. They don't know where they came from, and the superpowers are telekinesis, electricity, time control, time manipulation, and oh, who didn't I say? Wow, telekinesis, electricity, time, and patent. Oh wow. It's like I missed one of them. I kind of like zoned out for half a second. And making copies. So like Patton can make copies, Roman can create electricity, which his is more universal, so he has more abilities to do anything. Like he can change much. He can do anything with them as long as he can think it. I figured it would work for creativity. The web series this was based off of these abilities. I did change a lot of. The villain is sort of the same, but a lot different. The character Roman is based off of is his powers work the same. Like if he can think it, he can do it. There's a lot that I changed though. Like Logan's powers are completely different. That character had control over matter, not just simple, but I still gave him the sadder backstory and everything like that. So as we get into this, I will pause and leave comments as we go, so please expect that. If I edit this, I'll probably jump around a bit. And ignore this, Robin's interpretation of the apartment is far better than mine.
It was normal, considering they were all living in the city and short on cash. They all answered the ad in search for roommates. The apartment was conveniently located for all of them, as if the universe had handpicked the perfect place. Maybe it had.
Yes, maybe it had. I wonder how they all lived together.
Central location.
Wonder how that
easily
happened.
priced, but the apartment housed 4. That was how they all met. The day they moved in, Logan was the first there. Door unlocked and already moved into the smallest room tucked away in the back. Logan greeted Patton, the first to show up.
The original... This apartment is very square, simple, not too complex. The rooms are on the side, like that's Virgil's room. I think this becomes Roman's room. This is Logan's room, and this is Patton's room, yeah. They have the chair. I always mentioned the original copy of the apartment was based off of my sister's apartment, her second apartment when she lived in a different city than she lives now. Whoo! I just got an email about a comment. So that's where the original apartment was based off of. That's what I tried creating in this thing. That Robin's like, oh, the apartment looks different, I'll change it. I'm like, don't change it, this is beautiful. Because it's like a mix of It kind of looks like Thomas's apartment with the island in the kitchen and the divider right there. And I love this better, so I told her keep it.
The third was Roman.
Actually, before we get into Roman, my comment might be right here on top. I watch this at least once a day. Off. It's been over a week and I'm still in love. I'm so flattered. I watched this a lot. Let's see, there's a lot I want to say, but I'll hold back. I'm excited. Your interpretation of the apartment is if you want to keep it, go ahead. I don't mind. I love the kitchen they have. It's wonderful. ALiP was my fan interpretation, and this is yours. I like your version better. This is longer than I was expecting, and it was a wonderful surprise. You are adorable. You sound adorable, and your little giggle at the end was adorable. Poor Robin. I just randomly be like, by the way, I love you. This was amazing. Thank you so much. I always avoid rereading the prologue because it wasn't the biggest fan of it. I appreciate it so much more now. Excuse me, watch this 12 more times. I love your art style. Oh my gosh. I do hate the prologue. So there's discrepancies with it following the story.
They went over designated areas and rooms. Roman needing extra space for some
Look
of
at that
the props
smug
to
face.
keep off the place. He
Beautiful sunshine boy right
and
there.
the others agreeing
Poor-
to share a little
poor
space
Logan.
in a decently sized living room as long as he kept his space.
Yes.
Hours later,
You can
the sun
tell
had
when
already
she's
begun to
reading.
set.
I didn't have a beta reader. I didn't read this over the second time. I'm very meticulous about posting anything now because I'm like, it has to make sense. I have a beta reader. I read it twice before I write it. I read it. I read over it once more sometimes. I send it to my beta reader, and then after that, I read over it one final time. So like now, I'm like, whatever I post is I'm 100% satisfied, or as satisfied as I can be in its state. This I just wrote and posted. I did not go back over. I didn't do anything like that. So there's a lot of things I say or repeat, words I repeat that I hate.
Virgil showed up. He kept quiet and ducked into the last unclaimed room, second smallest only to Logan's. He hardly carried anything with him. All his materials fit in a backpack and a duffel bag he had carried. They all sat quietly, introducing themselves, while munching on pizza and garlic nuts, getting to know their new roommates.
So, I wanted to include this cute little scene, like I said in a throwaway. Oh, they sat down and had pizza and got to know one another. I ended up writing their introduction, and that's not what happened at all. So, like, there's the first big discrepancy. But at this point, like, if I change it, it's too late.
Everyone was at work, and Patton had been cleaning up the apartment. They all had day jobs that conflicted most of the time.
I like the old style vacuum. There's not many vacuums like this I see anymore.
Virgil! The
Oh,
other
I love the cute little faces.
You're home early?
Yes.
How wonderful!
How
He made
wonderful.
his way over and smiled, not hiding the panic from his face. There's a perfectly understandable and totally not bizarre reason as to why there's two of me.
And why you know Virgil's name without saying anything or possibly knowing him when there's you on the left as well.
Virgil looked back and forth. The second one signed and nodded, reaching
Yup.
out his hand.
And
Light,
bam.
suddenly there was but one singular pattern in the room.
And a very confused
Virgil.
Yeah.
What was that?
So, love the style, Robin. So my idea for writing, I knew early on, writing Patton and his powers, I had to figure out how I wanted the soon-to-be-named Patton pals to work, and I ultimately decided that they are a Patton.
Please don't tell the others, but I can duplicate myself.
Yes, you
Patton
can.
shrugged and smiled as if he hadn't just spotted nonsense. Virgil rubbed his eyes with his hand, signing and trying to convince his now growing headache to go away. Hadn't I had a rough day? Can we talk about this later, after I freak out? Sure, let me know, okay? Virgil silently walked out of the room, leaving Patton truly alone this time. He looked panicked and looked down at his hands, before taking a deep breath.
Deep breath. Before we get into this, I did take the idea of all of their powers from said web series. So the person in Platoon or Power Squadron that can duplicate herself works in a library, but she often sends one of her copies to go. Patton always goes if he can't help it. Um, the one that can stop time works in a craft store, but she works at the desk. I didn't do that for Virgil. I made him work stocking because I figured that would fit his personality better. Roman's character actually early on in the series loses his job, but he did wear a bear mascot costume, something I didn't tell Robin. But
The second time was Roman. He worked at a themed restaurant playing a character,
bear.
as he loved to call people, never actually saying what character and where.
Well, would you want to tell people you wore one of those mascot costumes? I love wearing like costumes that cover you so much that you can completely get into character and not have to worry about things like that.
For most characters,
I haven't
led him
worn
into a
quite
mascot
like that
costume to
before.
attract customers, hiding away his beautiful face from the world.
A true crime indeed. See,
Inside, he
I've seen
sang and
this enough I
performed at the local
remember.
theater, but he needed money to pay the bills, and he was too energetic and over the top for a normal desk job he used to have before he was laid off. He wasn't home alone, but instead
Made
he was
him
in the living room trying to find a movie to put on in the background.
I liked changing certain things about the characters as much as I was following the bare minimum I had for them. I liked making Roman very relatable in the sense that he had a good job, then he didn't, and just stuff like that. I was in that position a few years ago. I had a decent job. Store closed down, lost it, and it took me almost 4 years before I was able to get back on my feet properly, I want to say.
Flipping through the
So,
channels
you
for
know,
the
write
features
what
in the
you
world,
know.
and he was seriously considering steal borrowing versus
Steal/borrowing.
and just putting on something himself. I thought the batteries were there in the thing. Roman looked at Patton,
Oh,
who
that
stood in
little
the
Roman
doorway with a
face.
single plastic bag in his hand. I ran to his door to get batteries for Roman dropped the remote on the couch and stood up, backing away, feigning terror. That doesn't seem remotely possible.
Tell a
Patton walked to
pun,
the couch
tell a
and picked up
pun.
the remote.
Had to.
Look at that! Paying rent then. With that, he turned.
Fun fact, that line, somebody made a comment about, and I ended up writing an entire one-shot about the sides and a roommate. What's it called? The unseen roommate, I think I called it. Stuff like that. That one line sparked an entire mini story.
Come to think of it, Roman. Patton reached into the bag and removed the batteries. Aren't you always shocking us with static? Maybe that's how it worked. What? Me?
He's joking around
No,
now at
must
this
be right.
point.
I made a pun out of it. Patton
Beautiful.
said, nearly jumping up and
Beautiful.
down. I admitted nothing. Roman spun around and duplicates of himself.
Yes.
Patton nodded and sat on the couch.
Fun fact,
motioning
I
to
love
work
this
with
little
his-
shuffle, feet
He
shuffle.
shuffled his
I
feet
love
before
that.
sitting on the far
I
side of
don't
the
know
couch,
why.
curling in
And
a
I
heap.
love him little curled up like that.
Scared you, huh? Patton spoke softly and carefully. The other day, I didn't mean to, that's why I kept it a secret.
Now, I'm going to mention this now while I remember. When I was writing, and as I still continue to write, I like the friendships probably a little bit more than I like the relationships. So when I'm writing each chapter, I really try to mismatch and get all of the friendships in there. But platonic anxiety, or however you say that, is a special place in my heart. This little friendship between these two pops up so much, and I just I don't know. I just know that watching back a million times that the reason it's in the prologue in the first place is because it's like my
You
favorite.
were afraid of scaring us because it's weird. Virgil spoke, looking down at his sleeves as he pulled them over his hands.
When I imagined this, when I was imagining Virgil, I started thinking about my nervous tics. Now, when I'm nervous, I put my hands in my lap, and I tug on my sleeves in my fists, and then I take one and I tug on it more, and then I take the other and I tug on it more, so my fingers are hiding, and I have my sleeves like balled up in my fists, and I fiddle with them. I fiddle with that little ball, and I try to like go back and forth and try to not to let like the hole get out, like the openings, or let my fingers loose. It's a distraction thing I use for myself.
I
So,
believe I have what is called psychokinesis, but yes, I can also read minds. Ah, that's so cool, Logan!
Logan saying psychokinesis simply because telekinesis is pretty much the same thing, but it makes him sound smarter.
Patton practically jumped up and down where he stood. Wowie, we all have powers and we all share the same apartment. I mean, what are the odds? I guess you could say Patton.
Another thing I don't like about the prologue, I use this joke like 2 or 3 times because I keep forgetting I used the joke in the prologue.
I know where you're going with this sentence. Please just, the odds are infinitesimal.
That
You
face,
are
though.
the bane of my sanity. Logan finally didn't know what all of us can do, bookworm. Virgil spoke from
I
his
just
throat,
love
muttering into his sleep.
That the like just muttering into the sleeve thing, Robin just like there's certain scenes Robin just pulled straight from my brain without ever talking to me, and that's one of
Logan
them.
had replaced his glasses back on his face, adjusting them unnecessarily. Yes, I do. You and Patton have just discovered Roman's attachment to electricity.
For Robin, not being English, the word is attunement. His attunement to electricity. I wonder if define attunement.
According to dictionary.com, to bring into accord, harmony, or sympathetic relationship, adjust, he has attuned himself to living in the quiet country.
To bring into harmony, like your attunement, like your sim. That's not a good word. Like how you live with, like it's a part of you. You live in harmony with it.
How do you know that? Roman looked down with a slight sneer. You read our minds about that too?
Yeah,
No,
Logan.
I simply connected the dots. Patton told me he went to get batteries for a remote, and I heard you flipping channel. Then your increasing yelling let me
Your
believe
incessant
you finally
yelling.
figured it out. What about me? Virgil spoke and uncurled himself, leaning forward to look at Logan.
That glare.
You have me figured out yet?
Yes.
Logan sighed and closed his book.
Actually, no, he doesn't.
Look, when I use my powers, there is... He waved his hand around as he decided on the word he was looking for. Luminous shine, if you will, from... Your eyes glow like Rudolph's nose!
Robin's pattern is so cute. Ugh, sorry. Yeah, his eyes shine gold 99% of the time.
Patton chickled at the realization. That is accurate, I suppose. Roman turned and leaned closer to Logan, a grin growing on his face. Care to demonstrate, Cyclops? Is that why you wear glasses? I do not use my powers.
That joke, I don't know if many people got it. Care to demonstrate, Cyclops? Is that why you wear glasses? I'm referencing Cyclops from the X-Men, who has those glasses over his eyes, or else he's constantly shooting out laser beams. I'm an old comic book nerd. Oh, cat! Oh, my cat's gonna join us for this last part.
He picked up his book and resumed where he had left off. No need to do something I can do myself after all.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you want to use your
size super? I don't remember what you said.
Patton admitted with a shrug. Psychokinesis. He can move things without touching them.
The
Roman
only
Patton
person in
turned
the
to
apartment
Virgil
I
and
made
looked
read
at Blushing.
comic books.
I read comic books, okay? Well, what about you, Storm Crane? What power do you have? Mind sharing with the class? Patton perked up.
No, mind sharing is what Logan
does.
does. I write Patton from the heart. Like, I love puns and wordplay and things like that, so most of these I come up on the spot. That's why he can go so long without doing puns, and out of nowhere, just puns, because that's just me writing almost me. Just me as a person, not Patton as a character.
Virgil smirked, looking up at Roman, but made no attempt to move. Want to take a guess?
I keep wanting to quote
Oh, is
this.
it your super
Super
smile?
sm-
Oh, no, wait,
With
your
your shining personality.
Roman flashed a big smile toward the darker man on the couch. I get it right.
I will mention, you can see just a little bit. I can't move my mouse because of my cat. Virgil's got a slight blush on his face, and when he has a slight blush, I love that Robin uses his colors like it's a purple
Virgil
blush.
sighed and leaned back on the couch. For someone whose powers were bright,
You're pretty lacking.
Ignoring the
Offended
protest
princey
from Roman,
noises.
back down at his sense. I can stop and start time, but I can move around when I do.
Yes, which is why a lot of people, when they first discover Virgil has abilities, it's because he just disappears. They think he can teleport. They don't think he can travel through time, which is much more.
Is that why you always beat me to the last slice of pizza? Patton spoke jokingly. Not have to race you, I can come up behind you and take it without you knowing.
This is also, again, referencing Platoon of Power Squadron. The first episode is, I'm pretty sure, them fighting over pizza. And, like, legit, full-on brawling over pizza. Patton and Virgil are choking. And so is Roman when he jumps in.
Totally unfair. You owe me so many slices of pizza.
They're joking.
Roman stood up, staring down the darker side, sneering at the grin that shone back at him. Hey, sometimes I let Patton have them. Oh, Merch, that's so sweet. Logan looked down and flipped a page in his book, listening to his roommates argue on.
Yes, he
This
was.
time, however, a playful banter filled the living room, and he couldn't help but smirk.
Yes. Okay, that is the first episode. I'm gonna cut Robin off here. She goes on for a few minutes. I know because I've listened to this a few times, like the full thing. I'll listen to it. She thanks me. She mentions how she did message me on Tumblr. She sent me a submission with the little title card, or the thumbnail is the word I'm looking for, and said, hey, it's kind of almost done, but I don't want to post anything without your permission. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, Robin, that's a bold-faced lie. I was screeching at the top of my lungs so much because why? How did this become a thing? How did I get so lucky that a wonderful artist got the confidence to not only share their art, they wanted to draw something I wrote? I kind of feel like there is a million other stories that could have been better, but that being said, I do not regret anything, simply because my story, Robin, has affected your life so much in such a positive way. You first said when you shared this that you never really shared fan art. You never really shared your art. You were just getting the confidence to do that. And now you've released 2 full animatics of your art with a bunch of other fan art. You have a bigger following than I do, and it is entirely deserved. You have changed my life just as much as you've changed yours. I don't know if anybody knows this, but if you had paid attention, my life has kind of gotten taken over by writing. I don't care that a lot of people don't realize in the comments when I comment that I'm the author, even though the very first thing it says is written by Resident Anchor. That's fine. I'm not bitter about it. I'm really not. Because I get somebody who sits down and draws my story and has now voice actors and a theme song and an audio editor, which, by the way, when we go to the second one, I will geek about the background audio so much because I was a big film nut in high school and I appreciate every little thing that went into that. It's astounding. It brings it to a new level. And this silly little story, while I never think we'll ever get to chapter 14, which is where things really become very interesting, I am so thrown away that this has even happened in the first place, that I have so many people reading my story as I do. Kind of freaks me out. Kind of don't like looking at it or talking about it, to be honest with you, because my sister is tagging me and stuff on Facebook. Because it's just, it's so weird. You know, like how many other fics you read that get their own animated story? But there's not much commentary on this one. I have a lot of commentary about the second one, a lot of little fun facts, a lot of things I can tell. And if we ever get to a third one, I will absolutely do the same thing with that. I know Robin is working on a little short before the third one that I helped her with a tiny, tiny bit. With some of the writing, and I'm gonna help her with some of the ideas, but I want to take a step back and let her take control as much as I can because I want it to be her project. And I kind of was like, I want to help if I can help because I'm always telling Robin I would love to help, but there's not much I can do. So this one is a lot of me rambling, but part 2 of the of this, the second animatic, I have a lot to say. There's a lot of more fun things because I wasn't part of this one. I was just told one day, by the way, here it is. Thanks. The second one, there was a few messages going back and forth. There was the voice actors and everything like that I'll get into. But it was, this one I didn't really have a hand in, so thank you. I hope my long rambling author notes was interesting to listen to, and I will see you next time. And I hope my post-commentary author notes were interesting, at least this time. They will be more interesting next time, and I will see you later.